Hey guys, it's Kirby the Bookish Nurse and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just going to give you a quick wrap up of some of the things I've been reading for the first half of September. So I'm not sure if y'all can tell or not, but today it looks slightly different because I'm doing some things in my house and I really didn't want to bring my chair over here, so we're just going to hang out on the floor and talk today. Sorry, I'm eating candy. Hold on. That's better. So far this month, I started the month with just finishing a book that I had started in August with my book club. Lady Midnight is the first book in the Dark Artifices? A Cassandra Clare book set in the Shadowhunter world. And I am a Infernal Devices fan. That is my Shadowhunter series. I could not possibly have loved that any more than I did. However, the Dark Artifices, I really wish she would have named it something different. That's my only complaint with this series. I wish that she had used a word that I know. But she didn't. In this series, we're following Emma Carstairs, Julian Blackthorn, all of the Blackthorn children, and I am loving it. I would dare say that it is on level with the Infernal Devices. And it doesn't hurt that Tessa and Jim are also in this one. And we also get to see Jason Clary and Alec and Magnus. And I really haven't seen that much of Simon and Isabel, but they are there. So I think it kind of helps it that I do get to see glimpses of all of my favorites from a past series or from several past series. But even the new characters, I'm falling in love with them. I think Julian may be my absolute favorite character from the Shadowhunter universe thus far. But also Ty. Ty is an autistic Shadowhunter, and he's very, very, very high functioning. But he is definitely on the spectrum. And Julian is he was 12 years old whenever the Dark War, I think is what they call it, happened with Sebastian and the fairies and all of that. And his father was turned and he was one of the Forsaken. And at 12 years old, this kid had to put down his dad in order to protect all of his siblings because the Clave, I'm a little bit worried about how much this story is making me super hate authorities, but the Clave has thought it was best to send away the two oldest siblings because that makes sense, and Julian is kind of left holding the ball for all the rest of his family, even though at the time he was 12. In this series, he's 17, and Emma is with him. They've become parabatai, which we found out at the end of the Mortal Instruments. They were going to go do that. Anyway, I read like a quarter of it in September, so I don't know why I'm rambling about that particular book. But that's how my month started. And then shortly after that, our Let's Get Graphic readathon happened, and during that readathon I read I think 3 graphic novel series. Let me look. I started with volume 1 from The Wicked and the Divine, and it's a little dark. It's not going to be for everyone, but it is phenomenal. And it picks up on page 1 and just goes. It doesn't slow down, it doesn't stop. And maybe all graphic novels are like that. I'm really not sure because I'm just kind of getting into it in the past year. But this one is like go, 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 go. And if you like mythology of any kind, you will probably enjoy this series because they pull from lots of mythologies. They pull from Norse. They have Odin and his Valkyries. Maybe I just can't pronounce any words. That's fine. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We have those. We have Egyptian gods and goddesses. We have several. We have, I don't think that I've heard mention of many Greek gods and goddesses, but we do have Lucifer, who is the bad guy. And I'm not really sure why the main character is human, but I'm not really sure why our main character feels like Lucifer is so redeemable, because and you find out from the first like opening scene, she loves her. And I'm not sure why. Maybe I'll find out later, but because of the way it ended, I don't think I'm going to find out later. But yeah. Oh, we have the Morrigan, who, that was a fantastic portrayal of the Morrigan. I don't care what you say. Sarah J. Maas, I love Moore, but she's not the Morrigan. And not in that story, at least. This Morrigan, I love it so much. So, if you like mythology of any kind, I recommend The Wicked and the Divine if you're okay with darker themes. That was the first thing I read for the readathon. Oh, I didn't even really tell y'all what it was about. Okay, so the gods get to come back every 100 years, I think it was, for 2 years, and they kind of take over. It's kind of a possession thing, and then at the end of that 2 years, they die again, and they can be brought back in another 100. I think it was 100 or 50. This time, whenever they were brought back, they became pop stars or rock stars. They were stars of some kind. Of course, the older generation is like, look at them. They think they're just gods. And they're like, yeah, because we are. And all the younger kids are, oh my God, I'm so excited. So we have that dynamic, and I thought that was kind of cool, kind of funny, because that's kind of how it is in real life with celebrities who are not gods. So that was good. I gave it 4 stars just because I think maybe that just wasn't what I was looking for, but I definitely see where I would love this series whenever I get in that kind of mood. During this readathon, I also read 2 different Hades and Persephone retellings. I started and finished Punderworld. It's actually a comic on Webtoons, but it's being published into a hardback book. It's written by Linda Sijek. I'm going to put it on the screen here just in case I'm butchering that. But I thought this was so good. It was so much fun. Hades was so awkward. Both of them, Hades and Persephone, were both very awkward. And it was just super cute. And I've seen these illustrations, just like little clips of them, across the internet for a long time. And I honestly thought that it was just scenes that somebody had written because they were so cute. But they're not. It's a whole story, and it was so precious. And I fell in love with it and read it all in like maybe 2 hours. It was great. If you have any interest whatsoever in Hades and Persephone, that was a great one. If you don't want anything too super heavy, that's a great one to pick up and just kind of fly through. Then the second one, nobody's going to be surprised by this, but I spent all day catching up on Lore Olympus, and I've read how much they have out now is how much I've read. Y'all, this story, even if you don't like graphic novels, if you hate graphic novels, but you like Hades and Persephone, please read this. Please, it is so good. Even if you don't like Hades and Persephone, if you like anything, if you are not a miserable human, please read this. It's free on Webtoons. There is a book coming out, which I have pre-ordered, and I'm so excited for. It touches on everything. There are heavier themes in this one than it was in Punderworld, because it does touch on sexual assault and the ramifications from sexual assault and abusive relationships and infidelity. But I mean, it's Greek mythology. all of the triggers that you would expect to be in a retelling of Greek mythology, they are there. And it's full of just betrayal and loss and love and cuteness and darkness. And my favorite thing in the whole world is whenever Persephone gets threatened by anything. Hades is like this laid back, this is just my job kind of guy. He doesn't really cause any waves. He doesn't bother anybody. He's very lonely. But you best not threaten Persephone, because you will see a side of him you don't want to see. You don't want to see it. And Apollo, if you've ever read Lore Olympus, you know, I'm not going into that. Just, it's probably the best graphic novel or web comic. The girl who wrote this really outdid herself, and I hope she gets paid J.K. Rowling money for this series, because it is so phenomenal. It's fast paced, hands down my favorite graphic anything, and it's free. It's free. Y'all can go read it for free. You have no excuse not to. Once that readathon ended, I picked up How to Hang a Witch, and I enjoyed it. I flew through this book pretty quickly. I think it took me like 2 days, which for me is really quick, but it was a quick read. It had really short chapters, and for some reason, even if it's a 1,000-page book, if the chapters are only 2 or 3 pages, for some reason that makes it super easy to just go through. I don't know why. I was expecting this to be more of a witch story, and it was kinda. There were witches in it, but it wasn't about witches. And I'm not even sure that there were witches in it. There was a witch for sure, but this is about the descendants from the witches who were burned in Salem, and the new kid in town is a descendant from someone who persecuted the witches who were burned in Salem. Her family's from there, obviously, but her dad is sick. She moves back home and moves him closer to his home after his mother dies. I can't say that it had the best character growth and things that I normally look for in a story, but what I will say is that it is very fast paced. It kept me intrigued the entire time. There's a ghost. This is a ghost story more than it is a witch story. It's like a ghostly murder mystery with a little bit of witchy. And throughout the entire story, you don't really know who the witch is. You think you know, but you don't know until you get to the end. You don't know. You're not positive. You don't actually find out until the very end. The ghost, though, I'm sorry, I was sitting crisscross applesauce and my ankle hurt. So, the ghost was probably my favorite part. He was from the days of the Salem witch trials. I don't remember the year. So he was from back then. So he was like disgusted by a lot of current culture. And he was just very ta-ta. And I loved it. I thought he was so funny. The whole book was funny. The main character, she was kind of annoying because she was a realistic teenager. And realistic teenagers can be, annoying. But she wasn't stupid. And I always appreciate that. If I didn't before, I think I'm giving it 3.5 now. Because I did enjoy it. It wasn't the best written, but it was a lot of fun. And the most recent book that I've actually finished was Lord of Shadows from Cassandra Clare. There's so much that I need to say about this book, but especially the ending. Y'all, I don't want to go into spoilers, but it is the second book in the series, so there may be some spoilers from Lady Midnight. Okay, I'm going to try to do this the most spoiler-free as I can. Okay. So, the ending of this book, a main character dies and is dead. Not the fake trope of resurrection. No, no. Actually, several very important people are dead. Dead. And several are on their deathbeds. And we do not know why. I don't know how to go into more detail. Okay, about the story itself. This is the book where massive character development comes in. I'll tell you what, I'll make a spoiler filled talk about this book just so that I can, but I'm not going to do it in this one just in case y'all haven't read it. Okay, the character growth in this installment was phenomenal. Julian, there was some angst. Oh my goodness, was there some angst? There was some love and some unrequited love, but actually it was requited. They did love them back, but they didn't know. So everybody's just lying about who they love, except for this one person, and he's telling the truth. Thinks that the other person's not telling the truth. It is so angsty. It is dripping in angst, and I love it. I ate that up. I'm not always an angsty person or an angsty reader, but that was some good angst. And there's also friendship that's built in this book that I don't think I could love it anymore. There's one scene. I'm not always the biggest Alec Lightwood fan. I like him. He's fine. But I like him better with Magnus. He's a better character with Magnus. But there was one scene where Magnus wasn't there. I mean, I'm sure he was there somewhere, but he wasn't in the immediate vicinity. And Alec, some things were said, and you saw just the avenging angel come out of him. And I said, Alec, when did you get so fine, Alec? I need you to calm it down. I am married. I'm probably not your type either. But that doesn't matter at the moment. I was so proud of him, and I was so glad that he came out the way that he did in that moment. And I could feel the anger, and I could feel what should have been fear in the opposite party. I don't know if it was or not, but I feel like it was. In my mind, she was shaking in her boots. And then it had one of the most dramatic endings that I think that I have read in a very, very long time. Overall, I give that book 5 stars. It's probably my favorite Shadowhunters book that I've read thus far. If you haven't picked up this universe, there's a lot of things in this particular series that you probably wouldn't understand just because it pulls from so many of the previous books to give us Easter eggs. But I'm sure it could be read solo. I don't know anybody who's done that. So that's what I have today. On Sunday, I'm going to try to put out a video about our October readathon. It's going to be a month-long readathon based on spooky character creation, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is probably going to be one of the best ones we've put out yet, and I can't wait to get started with it. So don't forget to check back Sunday, and I will do my very best to have that announcement up at some point Sunday morning. So if you like this video and you want to see more bookish content from me, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I post videos every week. So I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye.